Good afternoon, my beloved friends. I am very pleased to be here with you and quite excited for your accomplishment today, for your being able to take a step forward into your progression, to leave behind the securities of the methods that you were familiar with and have stepped into taking your toes across the line into the unknown in order to try something new. And we are very pleased about this and very happy for it. We wish to talk to you today about a topic that is of quite a bit of importance, for it is something that you also need to master. And that is the topic of lack. You have grown in the physical world your whole life. You've existed there. And during your experiences, you have had times when you have been belittled and put down. The great Master Jesus said, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." Unfortunately, those words have been ignored by the majority of the people who live on this planet because all they do is live in judgment. And when they judge someone, that energy begins to limit them. Remember what you are learning here. You are learning that ye are gods. You are divine crystalline energy. If you are that energy, then you have everything. You cannot be in lack. You cannot think, I can't do that. You cannot think, I'm not good enough to do that. You cannot have these thoughts, but yet you do. So what I am trying to stress to you today is that you need to become aware of your thinking. And when you begin to have thoughts that are limiting yourself, you need to cancel them. You need to say, no, that's not true. I am God. I am unlimited. I can do whatever I wish. I have that ability, for that is my birthright as divine consciousness. And erase those thoughts. Ignore them, banish them, put them aside, and step into your divineness, into your knowingness. Know that you have heard me say often that if you want to manifest something, you have to believe it with 100% knowingness. Erasing the lack is entering that 100% knowingness. It's taking away the limitations that you are placing upon yourselves by your thinking. You need to become aware of this. You need to start to fix it. You need to start to erase those thoughts. And you need to start to realize and become aware that when that thought starts creeping into your consciousness, you immediately turn aside and get rid of it. We have spoken before about going into your divine energy. You are the divine energy, but your focus isn't always there. And how about how getting your focus there is only takes a split second to do that. When that thought of limitation comes in, go into your divine energy. That will erase it, as long as that is your intent. That you know that when you have that limiting thought, you go into the divine energy to erase it so that it's not become part of your consciousness, it's not become part of your energy. It goes away. No one can train their thoughts 100% of the time. Thoughts fleet into your consciousness, fleet into your mind. But that doesn't mean you have to anchor onto them and focus on them and give them any kind of energy. It's kind of like when you're outside and the wind blows and you can feel it on your face. You don't try to catch it and have it stick to your face. It just passes by. These limiting thoughts, if they just pass by quickly, they just pass by. You're not attaching any energy to it. It's when you start thinking, oh, that's right, and give that the limiting thought energy that it distracts from your ability to be your divine self. So we ask you today to start becoming more sensitive to watching what you're thinking and to try to eliminate as best you can these limiting thoughts of I can't, I'm not good enough. Living in the human condition, we've been conditioned to accept those things, but they're not true. I sometimes think, oh, I shouldn't say that. I know if you think about it. If you think about some religions who teach that you are born in sin, what are they trying to do? They're trying to limit your divineness. They're trying to put that limit, that judgment upon you so that you believe it, so that you have to go back to that church every week and put money in their basket, and then they don't have to go to work. That's what that was all about. But these thoughts are there. They've been programmed into your social consciousness, into your mindset that I'm not worthy, I'm sinful, I'm not good enough for God. All these thoughts, they're all nonsense. They were all placed there to control you, to keep you away from your divine nature. Because if you live as a divine being, you don't need their buildings, you don't need their services, you don't need their churches. You are completely powerful and knowingness in your knowingness. So we ask you to become aware of this. We ask you to put this into practice. Monitor the way you think. And when those thoughts come that are going to limit you, let them pass you by like the wind. Ignore them and just simply say, I am divine crystalline energy of the one I am presence. And know that means that there is no limitations on you, that you are unlimited, you are divine, and that is who you are. Put that into practice. So be it.
Thank you, Carl and friends. We really appreciate that very relevant teaching. Our first question tonight is from Carol C. There are reports that humanity has awoken a huge entity from the deepest ocean depths, larger than any whale. They say larger than the fictional character Godzilla. What can you tell us about this ancient Leviathan? Thank you.
The entity you are speaking about was designed to, well, let's put it this way. You are all familiar with the term vacuum cleaner. That entity is designed to be a vacuum to clean up a lot of the negative conditions in your earth, in your oceans, in your environment. It is there to counteract it, to clean it up, let's say, to get rid of it, to absorb it, transmute it, to help raise the vibration of your planet. It is going to absorb the negativity so that it's no longer, that negativity no longer weighs down the vibration. It is all part of the grand plan of you going into the new age of knowledge, of changing the frequency of not only yourself, the whole planet will be changing. And this creature, as you term it, it was designed to help do that. You understand that the sun is transmitting certain frequencies that is affecting your planet to help rise in its vibration. And this entity is there to absorb some of the negativity and transmute it so that will also aid in raising the frequency because it's going to remove the part of the anchor that's weighing it down. Do you understand?
Very interesting. Thank you. Next question again from Carol. I'm hearing a lot lately about Elvis, that he was involved with the military and CIA, that he's connected to Lincoln, Trump, and JFK, and that he did not die but is still alive. Is there any truth to that?
There are many theories being bantered about trying to claim that this person or that person is still alive in order to help the planet or do this or do that. These are mostly created with the hope of disappointing people to take away their belief in the changes that are happening on your planet. It is a way to create a stumbling block, if you want to use that terminology. So, no, there is not truth to that. Just like there is not truth that Jesus is going to come back to this planet, not physically. It is a spiritual enlightenment that's happening. But so many people think that he is going to come back physically and walk the earth plane again. He can come back and will do that anytime he wants. He has that ability. He can be there, and he does. But he disguises himself so people don't know who he is, because he knows that if he was recognized, it would start a whole commotion and start and actually feed and empower the organization that has taken his name and supposedly taken his principles and teachings, but they actually desecrated them and do the exact opposite. So he's not going to do anything to help them out. But this is not anything that has truth to it. It's just the way that the people who want to impede the evolution that's happening have come up with to try to stop it. but they will fail. There is no stopping it. Do you understand?
Okay, thank you. Next question. I recently heard a well-respected medium say that J.D. Vance would betray Trump, just as happened with President Kennedy. Can you comment on that?
What is my comments will not give you an answer that you're probably looking for. For what will be happening is that there are people who are trying to work against their president, and they are going to seek the help and aid of the man that you spoke of. As you know, everyone has free will. So we cannot say for certain whether he will help those people or work against those people. Not with certainty. The problem that he will face is one of temptation. They are going to offer him the world in order to assist them. Think back on what you've learned in the Bible. When it talks about the devil tempting Jesus with all sorts of things to abandon his mission, Jesus said no. History will repeat itself. It's not the devil who's going to be tempting Vance. It's going to be the president's foes. But we cannot say for certain whether he will decide to stay true to the president or if greed will take over and he will accept the temptation that's being offered him. We on our side will do all we can to influence him to stay true. But as you know, we can only do so much. So it'll be up to that man's soul and that man's consciousness to figure out how he will proceed. That probably is not a satisfactory answer, but that's the best we can do at this time. You understand?
Thank you, and we will also keep him in our thoughts and prayers that he make the right decision. I have one more question. Bear with me. I have to go into my email and get it from Luvera. Okay, her question is, in early March 2025, 20-year-old University of Pittsburgh student Sudiksha Kananki, I don't know if I pronounced that right, went missing during a spring break trip to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, and her family believes she drowned, requesting authorities declared her dead. Can you tell us actually what happened? Thank you.
Unfortunately, she did not drown, but she was taken captive by a group of people who planned to misuse her for their own pleasure. There are many people who disappear because of that reason on your planet. And we are looking forward to the day when that no longer occurs because people will understand that that everyone is a god and they would not dare to desecrate another god in any manner. That day will come, but it still will take some time for you to reach it. We feel at this time that the person you're asking about will be rescued, but her captivity will be very long. We ask you to hold her in the light. We ask you to raise your thoughts and do all that you can to bring light into the world so that we can combat these kind of influences. We spoke of the creature that is absorbing negativity earlier in this session. You too can help with the situation by doing all that you can to put light in the world, because the more that light gets put into the world, the more it counteracts the effects of the dark side of the negativity. So this is part of the reason that we've been asking you to use the consciousness gathering, because as you sit and become the divine crystalline energy, you are projecting a certain amount of energy into the atmosphere around you, into your environment. It helps to lift the frequency. Yes, it's a minute amount, but every bit counts. Every single bit counts. And the more people who learn to do this, the quicker, of course, it'll have a greater effect. So we ask you to begin to do that, and to begin to, when you feel, the word I will use is safe, when you feel safe enough to talk to someone about there being a God, about the things that we are learning here, please do so. We are very well aware there are many people on the planet who will reject these kinds of thoughts because they are so indoctrinated with their own religious beliefs that keeps their minds and feet cemented down into the ground and cemented into their ignorance. And we do not ask you to put yourself in any kind of danger or to set up yourself up to confront someone in any kind of way, especially in the times you are living in. There are so many people who are living in stress because of the frequencies are changing. They're not changing, but the frequencies are, and they're feeling out of sorts. And the least little thing can set them off and to do violent things, to reach out and to do things that are negative, simply because of their frustration is not the right word, but it's their imbalance. They're in the middle of a tug of war. They're feeling one way, and the atmosphere, the frequencies are pulling them another way. So there's this tension of being pulled in two opposite directions, and therefore it can set them off to do strange things. So we do not ask you to confront someone that you do not feel safe with. But when you do feel safe, share some thoughts, share some ideas with them, and help bring some more light into the world. Do you understand?
Thank you. I would like to say just one other thing, because as I approach my 80s, and I have a lot of friends who are 60, 70, 80s, it seems that Many people are experiencing very difficult health challenges right now, especially with a lot of pain. And some of these people are very well versed in healing modalities. With the raising of the frequencies here on Earth, it would seem to me that it would be maybe easier to address some of these issues, but it seems actually more difficult. Do you understand what I'm saying, or can you give us any guidance?
In many ways, this is what we were talking about when we asked you to get rid of the negative thoughts. You are talking about people who are who are trained in how to do healing, but yet when they need the healing themselves, they feel inadequate. They feel they can't do it. They put a limitation on them. If they can channel the healing energy for others, they can channel it for themselves. But part of the reason they're having problems is because they doubt that fact. The other part of the reason is that they're in pain, and the pain makes them forget. They're concentrating on the pain instead of concentrating on the knowledge that they have. So it seems illogical, and it seems like it doesn't make sense, but yet this is a very human thing that's happening to them. We ask you to, if you wish to assist them, to help them remember their teachings and their practices, and to help them know that if they approach it with 100% knowingness, that they can heal themselves. Everything's possible. If you listen it carefully into the consciousness gathering recording, it talks about everything that is out of alignment goes back into alignment. You have to know that's true. You have to believe it, and then you have to practice it. You have to sit with the recording and allow it to happen. But you have to take that limitation off, and you have to forget about age, because age is simply another limitation. Yes, the body changes and there is some physical things to it, but your spirit is stronger than the physical. It can do that. Have you heard about people who can regress their age because of the way they think? It is possible. So again, it's all part of the indoctrination that was put into practice, and you absorb all these thoughts, and you think that they are truths, but in actuality, they're falsehoods. And if you live the truths that we are teaching, you can combat a lot of that. I hope you can understand what we're trying to say, and that again, the people that you are familiar with, reach out to them and try to get them to dig into what they know, and try to work with it, and get beyond the limitations of the idea of age, the idea of getting old, the idea of the body just decaying. It doesn't have to be that way. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you. And that's our last question. Thank you so much.
It's been our pleasure for us to be here today, and for give you again assistance and encouragement. In some ways, we're very much like cheerleaders. We have to cheer you on your accomplishments, and we have to cheer you on what you need to do, because you need reminding. Part of the human condition that you face is all these limitations that are part of social consciousness, that are part of what you believe is true, and yet it's all illusions, and therefore it doesn't have to be that way. But you need the constant reminders that they're illusions. You need the constant reminder to do the practices, to use the consciousness gathering recording, to be in that energy and allow that energy to do its work, and not to put the restrictions on it. It's so human to put the restrictions on, to allow it to succumb to all that. But we're asking you to not do that. You know that you are God's. That thought has been planted into your brain. It's been planted into your soul. It's time for you to allow that to really come and grow and blossom and flourish. And to do that, you need to get rid of the limitations of your thoughts that your thoughts create. Ponder that, my friends, and begin to work on that. Again, it's been our pleasure to be here, and we leave you at this time with our blessings and our peace and our love. Go forth and shine your light into the world. So be it.